share with you, when I was told this morning that I should put this thing together, so I said, okay, 10 minutes, it's better I just put a few PowerPoints together so that we can see the picture together. The intention is just to stir up your curiosity, understanding what our needs are, as well as what business opportunity stands there. We just have that agenda there. The introduction is just to give some background so that you can contextualize the viewpoint that we are trying to express here. Now, the needs of ICT in Africa and the business opportunity, they are closely intertwined. They are really inseparable. You do business to meet some needs within the environment, to create the needs create the market. Now, I just said quickly some key principles we need to bear in mind when we're dealing with ICT needs and ICT business. ICT is problem solving, in the sense that just like any other technology, the inventors had a range of problems it can solve in mind before it's invented. So when you bring into a context, you need to diagnose the appropriateness or otherwise for the problem you are grappling with within your own context. It is problem solving. Two, there's this paradox of universality and particularity of ICT, which it is that in terms of the science of it and the core technology, there's universality. How we program the computer doesn't vary. When I moved from University of Ibadan to University of Glasgow in the UK, the way I have to program the same logic, I will have to follow that. But when it comes to the context of deployment, to provide a solution in the context, it is particular. It should reflect the particularity of that particular context. Let's bear that in mind. The implication of that is that when we are doing business, we bring a solution, we need to ask ourselves that, is this solution well fitted into this environment? Can I create market for this thing? If it's well suited, of course, then you can get business environment there. ICT needs are contextual, links to the particularity I was indicating. ICT needs are contextual. Why the Americans want to use ICT to get into the space, NASA spending billion there, how are we going to provide food security in our environment? How are we going to address the various dimensions of insecurity, be it border, individual, food, and whatever it is that's been highlighted earlier with us? It is contextual. Lastly, it's interactive. And I want to emphasize this, that there's no static ICT solution. It has to evolve in response to changing dynamics of the area of provisioning of the solution. So, if we have developed something within, say, Israeli context, coming to Africa, we prepare to adapt. We prepare to let it reflect the contextual particularity of that particular environment so that we can create a niche of business there. Looking at our business and varsity business environment, we need contextualized business model, not a one-size-fits-all. If it works in Britain, work in Brazil, in India, it does not translate as going to work exactly. Again, we have our own environment with various challenges and character opportunities there. We are infrastructurally challenged. You want to start IT business, you think about the power supply issue, telecommunication issue, and so on and so forth like that. Let's bear all those in mind. Now, but on a positive note, I've just picked up from AGR Telecommunications, studies they built. They said that 6 out of 10 fast-growing economies in the world are in the sub-Saharan Africa. That provide a great opportunity there. We have young, vibrant, fast-growing population. But for now, Asia, US, European multinationals are capitalizing on this. And also, Africans understand the African context better. So the issue of contextualization, I'm saying, be it in business or social provisioning, now let's bear that in mind. Thinking African, anytime when I meet some people, you know I'm a thinking African. So they laugh at me. They say, just watch what you deal with me. Now, looking, ICT, as you know, is very crucial in any environment for modernization, optimization of every sector. And particularly our own development stage, agriculture is important to us. Education, governance, healthcare, and so on. Any ICT solution addressing our particular needs in this environment very, very important. I know in Israel, educational technology is very, very prime moving area of business, which we need. But looking at the particularity issue, it's important that when we use some metaphor, for educational pedagogical metaphor to convey idea to within our context here. Remember, children in other environment, they grow in different environment, so we need to come up with appropriate metaphor, adaptation as appropriate. Now, ICT, African ICT enterprise plays low off the mark, hesitant to launch out into intra-African ventures due to a number of constraints. The reality is that it's not peculiar to ICT. ICT entrepreneurs in Africa prefer to be targeting US market, Europe market, to get dollar and so on and so forth like that, neglecting the huge opportunity within Africa itself. Unfortunately, we are no match when we go to those arenas. But when we provide contextual solutions to ICT problems in our context, we have niche, but we can compete better, we need that. So we need engagement, partnership, friends like Israel to do this. Funding, infrastructure, political instability, and then inappropriate market targeting. As I mentioned, targeting beyond the African environment is a major challenge. As a result, major multinationals, with their own huge financial muscle, they are able to capitalize and take advantage of the opportunities. So I have just two points to round up. The Africa needs business opportunities. Having what I've said about background. Now, our needs in ICT is predicated upon this. The fact that ITK underpins every development initiative in every industry vertical. Connectivity is sine qua non to any success in any enterprise today. You are not connected, you are just localized, you can't take advantage business beyond the confine of your building, if that is the case. Hence, generally, our needs could be summed up in the ICT for development needs. E-agriculture. How do we transform our agricultural environment? Some colleagues who visited some agricultural settlement a few days ago, they come with wonderful stories. How things can be. I'll be talking to my colleague here. How do we use technology to modernize, optimize our agricultural, enterprise? Our education. In South Africa, we need to produce 6,000 PhD holders in all the universities every year. But we are currently producing only 1,600, all the universities. Deficit of 4,400 every year. That's to target our development in 2030. Now, how are we going to meet that development objective? We need ICT in education, not only at the school level, at the university level, where we can take advantage of expertise all across the world without border to engage supervisors of PhD holders wherever they are located in the world. ICT provides a platform for this. ICT human capital development is a challenging area. As I said, we are short supplies. Most of us going to retirement, where retirement at a faster rate than we are in keeping those coming in. So our minister in South Africa said maybe we should retain us until we retire at 80-year-old. I don't know how they're going to sustain that. So building new generation of computational thinkers. We need that in Africa, whereby, starting from the school, you grow your own timber so that we don't find high failure rates we have in ICT-based education, qualification in higher education level. Analytics, electronic analytics for a better planning, governance, smart environment. We need it not just to be able to have access to Wi-Fi anywhere, well integrated to our educational system. Wherever students are, they have access to educational material because we have smart environments. I'm just ending with this. Now, in terms of the nature of the business opportunity that is there, a strategic partnership between Israeli entrepreneur with Africans will be very, very important in this area. I've highlighted the constraint that we have there. I was amazed when Professor Ghana was telling us last time how, yes, I have the land, I have all the other things. He was able to get to Germany and others, invest in that. It's a win-win thing. You can't lose out in Africa. The market is there. Well contextualized business model, in any business engagement that we have, where, again, we recognize how can we exploit the intellectual base, business entrepreneur ideas within African context, again, not a one-size-fits-all, well-contextualized business model, recognizing those things. Infrastructure aware ICT devices. I was telling my son, we need a kind of thing that we are aware that power can go off anytime. Then it should be, we have device that's immune to that. To enable us to download something at a level, we have low bandwidth. It should take advantage of cognizance of that. That's what I mean by infrastructure aware CT devices will be selling like hotcake in the country, in our continent. And then in doing our business, let's exploit intellectual base in Africa so that together we can advance. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all. So is there any people from Nigeria here?
Yes, Nigeria.
They're all being, so probably you're familiar with this local bridge? Yes? The local bridge, so we did it. We are known as RCC. Is connecting the north and the south. It's 2.2 kilometers. So we are known in Nigeria as RCC. This is our subsidiary in Nigeria, the leader infrastructure company in Nigeria. So, okay, Shikun Binui, we are operating since 1924, even before Israel was established. We are rating as A1. This is some financial highlight about the company, 5.4 billion revenue, backlog of projects more than 16 million. We are the largest infrastructure, renewable energy and water purification company in Israel. Okay, as you see, we are working all over the world. I will focus on Africa continent, but I will give a brief about America. We are in United States, doing huge billions dollar of project in United States. We're in Guatemala, finished now something like over 400 megawatt of hydropower plant in Guatemala. Also, we are in Colombia doing roads. In Chile, we'll start now more energy project. In Europe, mainly real estate. In Africa, we are the largest infrastructure company in Africa, more than 5,000 employees. I just want to say something that in each country, when we are working, we have only the management team is from Israel and all the other are local. Part of the employees in Nigeria working in our company more than 30 years, from laborers up to engineering and etc. In Africa, we are working in Mozambique, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, Togo, Ghana, and Ivory Coast. We even in the past work in Sierra Leone, in Cameroon. Now we will see a short movie about the company.
Shikun Binui had always believed in the future.
when Israel was only a dream. We were there, and we've been moving forward ever since. Since the establishment of Solet Monet, the founding company of Shikun Benui in 1924, we've been playing a major role in creating infrastructures around the world. Everywhere you look in Israel, you will see the fruits of our labor. Be it roads, seaports, and airports, the Parliament Building, the national water carrier, or residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. At the end of the 1950s, we decided to spread our knowledge and experience and have been operating internationally ever since. In 1996, Arison Investments purchased shares of Shikun Benui and went on to become the controlling shareholder. Arison Investments operates in more than 40 countries on 5 continents and employs 27,000 employees worldwide. It is a leader in making the world a better place by investing in businesses and philanthropy. Our vision, in line with Arison's sustainability approach, is to be a leading business group, creating advanced and sustainable living environments in Israel and around the world through our 4 operating divisions: infrastructures, real estate, renewable energy and water, and concessions. In the infrastructure field, we operate hundreds of projects each year in all fields of civil engineering, development, and construction. Roads and bridges, construction works, and hydroelectric power plants, public buildings and office buildings, commercial centers, tunnels, chimneys, and marine works. In the real estate field, we build the residential environments of the future. We provide community-oriented solutions and apply advanced planning and design methods. Commercial centers, office buildings, and student dormitories. To date, we have built more than 190,000 apartments in Israel. In the renewable energy and water field, we provide clean electricity through investments in renewable energy, and we build photovoltaic and thermosolar power plants to use the sun's energy. We also develop smart solutions for water and wastewater treatment, building more than 5 water treatment facilities. The water desalination plant in Hadera, Israel, can generate up to 350,000 cubic meters of clean water per day. In the concessions field, we integrate our financial abilities with the knowledge and experience of each Shikun Benui's operating divisions. We finance, build, and operate mega projects with the public sector and apply our expertise in transportation, real estate, water, energy, and social infrastructures in Israel and around the world. It is our people who transform our sustainability vision into reality by dealing with challenges anywhere and at any time, preserving the environment and complying with the highest standards of building and conduct. Shikun Benui operates in 4 continents and 20 countries and has built dozens of mega projects at a total value exceeding $10 billion, connecting villages and peripheral communities to water and electricity, and connecting people around the world by transportation infrastructures. Over the many years of our activity, we have learned that sustainability is the right way to operate, both for a profitable business and for a long-lasting, prosperous, and healthy society and environment. The sustainability approach has led us to a new path. We started within, implementing sustainability values among our employees with workshops and professional courses. Our own headquarters is an example of sustainable construction and was awarded the American Standard LEED Gold certification. Wherever we operate, we aim to create a dialogue with the community. We operate with the understanding that cooperating with the various stakeholders ensures our project will bear fruit and create value to the economy, the society, and the environment. We at Shikun Benui believe in the future. It comes naturally to us, and we continue to build the future for generations to come. Shikurin Benui. Our future, our environment.
So, thank you. So I got instruction to stop the presentation because there's a limitation of time. So, time limitation. So what we'll do now, okay, so as you saw in the movie, the presentation, I can show you more movies about our project, and the presentation will take something like 20 minutes, but you know, asked me to stop. So now, as I mentioned, we are doing infrastructure project, water project, all kinds of water, from purify small borehole and supply potable water to the rural areas, up to big desalination plant, as you saw in the movie. Also energy, renewable energy. We are doing hydropower plant. We are doing solar PV. We are doing thermosolar, like the mirror that you saw, the tracking the sun you saw in the movie. Pump storage. And I'm open for question if you have any questions, so we can, yes.
Thank you very much for that.
First of all, thank you for coming. I think we all know Sone Bonel in Nigeria, but I have two questions. The first one is, what percentage of local people do you employ as Sone Bonel? Do you have a company policy that says this is the percentage that must be employed from the local people, number one? Number two, do you, the contracts, when they are issued to you by government, do you as a company have a policy that it must come with a maintenance of whatever projects you have done, or do you allow the government, the local government, to decide whether you just construct and they maintain, or do you have a company policy that says we must construct and also maintain? I think most Nigerians will understand why I'm asking that question.
With regard to your first question about the percentage of local employee and experts, I will give you the numbers, and it will be very easy to calculate. In Nigeria currently we have something around 5,000 employees, 67 are from Israel. So do I need to calculate? Okay, so and when I'm talking about all the employees, I think that I already mentioned part of them working in our company more than 30 years, from labor up to engineers. So there we have our policy. Even if there is a special project that you need unique specialists, so we are sending people to Israel or some other country where we are working. They get training, coming back and transfer the knowledge and the know-how to the other employees. And we are paying salary according to the local law, including the social care, etc., for each employee. Even when we are using subcontractors, and usually we are not, the first thing that we are taking care is the salary for the employees that are employed by the subcontractor. But usually we have everything in each country where we are working, and we have a local company. Like in Nigeria, we need grabbers, we have our own quarry, we have our own machinery, tractors, everything. And the same in each other country in the African continent. With regard to the policy, how we are working with the governments is flexible. It's really flexible. Part of the project financed by the government, part of them financed by us as a BOT project. I don't think that it's any limitation about the percentage of employees, because most of our employees are local in each country. We are not like other huge companies like the Chinese. They bring the Chinese to work. We are really using local continent, local employees and local, איך אומרים מוצרים? No. Yes, what we, materials and everything. Okay. I said we are flexible. Part of the project of BOT that we are build, operate, and transfer after 20 years. Part of a project we are coming as a EPC, a turnkey project, lump sum project. Part of the project that need maintenance, we can give the maintenance as a subcontractor to the government, or it depends. Each project is different. Okay, just Ezra will elaborate.
Maybe I should elaborate. For instance, if once we build, for instance, a road doesn't mean we are not providing services, long-term services, because it's a simple thing. The time that you need to maintain it, it's after a few years and so on. But for instance, in some other project, which is more technology, then our tendency is to construct a local service facility in which we train the people from the country how to maintain the system, and being how to call it, knowledge center.
We have specific sample now for Nigeria, for the Delta area with the oil.
Yeah.
So
the question, do we also provide maintenance or long-term maintenance? It depends very much on the type of the project and what we are going to do.
Good afternoon. I'm Angeline Chabeleng, come from South Africa. I'm in government. I'm representing myself. I'm happy about this presentation. My curiosity is about how do you structure your funding model, especially when you talk about economic empowerment. We talk about the fourth industrial revolution, which connects to ICT and infrastructure. But critically, your private-public partnership, where you want to transfer ownership of the infrastructure and part of the maintenance going forward of that infrastructure. How do you structure such contract and business?
Okay, in South Africa, there's a rule with regard to BEE partnership. You need, I don't remember today, but in the past, you need 25 partnership. Maybe you can give me exactly today. I don't know how it's working today, but each country, they have their own law in each country. In South Africa, you need a local partner that as is BEE certificate. So it depends. We can find a local, if we will have project in South Africa. We are not working in South Africa today, but if we will have project in South Africa, of course, it will look for local partners that working according to the local law, and we will work according to the local law with the partnership with the BEE partners. In South Africa, I can tell you that we looked for projects. We even participated in some tenders, in huge project for bridges and some other project. We're really keen to start working in South Africa. We're willing to bring a lot of finance to South Africa for BOT project, for PPP project, but we need that the government of South Africa will open their arms for Israeli companies. This is the main, I think, problem with the South African government. I used to live 5 years in South Africa in Sandton. I used to live in the Radisson BMW in Sandton on Daisy Street on the corner. So in the past, till 2015. I'm loving this country in South Africa, but there's a lot of they are making a lot of difficult to Israeli companies. I just want to say something more. We tried desalination project. You have big problem with water in South Africa. We even came with a lot of finance. I'm talking about more than $200 million finance to do some desalination projects. Same with agricultural. We had a lot of meeting with Clover, with Estral, with Rainbow for huge agricultural farm, but we came as an Israeli company. I think that was the problem. We are coming with our flag, sorry.
Thank you. You know, it's funny because Israelis have this aura of mystery, like mystery, Mossad and stuff like that. So it's good. It adds to this mysterious thing. But you'll see, I'm very down to earth. I'm very friendly. I'm very exactly. Thank you. I like the way it's organized. I mean, when one feels that you have here, I don't know if he's like you're standing on time. That's very well. Okay, so my name is Jeremy Ben Shalom. Shalom, by the way, is peace. Hello, welcome. Yeah, shalom is a very important word. So you could call me Shalom too if you want. That's fine. And I'll talk to you a bit about agriculture, and I'll come very much from where I stand, my passion towards agriculture and what I do, my work in Africa. I'll come from this kind of inner feeling I have. So we'll start as the thing that disturbs me most. This is a map of the world, and you could see how it's disproportionate, right? You see, this is the map of the world when they adjusted to wealth, and you could see how the wealth is disproportionate, and how Africa becomes this very thin, slim thing where we want to see it at least the size it is, if not much bigger than that. So this, basically, when I talk about agriculture, when I talk about what I want to do, is I want to change this map of the world. I want to change the map. If we look at the distribution of wealth, I want to see that Africa gets what it needs to get and where it should be. So this is kind of like the big aim. Let's go to the next slide. Agriculture is for sure the largest sector, economic sector in Africa. You have countries that more than 80% of the population, they do agriculture, they practice agriculture, and one of the interesting things is that mostly it's done by smallholder farms. You could see, I work a lot in Kenya, you could see that everybody, even if he's in government, he always has a farm back home and he does some agriculture. Agriculture, in a sense, is the backbone of Africa, and that's also true because your conditions, your country, your continent is so prosperous. I've been to Liberia, they tell me you take a stick, you put it in the ground, it just grows, you know. You don't have to water it. And that's true. Coming from Israel, you saw how arid we are. So Africa, so we were changing the map, right? The disproportionate from a slim, thin Africa, I wanted to have a wealthy continent, a wealthy countries, and we want to have agriculture playing a central role in that, especially smallholders, the way I see it at least. Okay. So if we want to make agriculture as strong and as prosperous as it's supposed to be, let's see who does agriculture. Do you agree? Is agriculture done by farmers? No, no, yes, no. Yes. Who says yes? Very shy people. That's okay. I'm not like, I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to have fun with you for this 15 minutes or so. Supposed to be done by farmers, but where's the but? There's always a but, right? Somebody talks to me, I'm waiting for the but. I don't listen to what he says, I'm just waiting for That's when I was educated in London, so they give you this, I did my master's in London. They're very polite, the British, and South Africa, Kenya, a lot of British. So, they say, very polite thing. This is a wonderful presentation, la 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 la. But you would, so where's the but? Is it done by farmers or not agriculture? I mean, we have to solve the problem. We're here talking about a continent.
It's done by farmers, but not only farmers.
Not only farmers. Who else?
The people of the land.
The people of the land, but the people of the land is the
They're not farmers.
not farmers. What? Politicians?
Only construction, but also farming.
Construction, okay. So not only farmers. Let's go, because I'm running through quickly with you. I see you're a sharp group of people. We don't have to dwell on things. I argue that it's done by businessmen. So today, if you want to be a successful farmer, agriculture, whatever you grow, if it's horticulture, if it's livestock, you need to be a businessman. Now, it doesn't mean you don't have irrigation or whatever it is. Of course, your tools and your means of production are agriculture, but you need to know business. Because we're working in a globalized market, we're working in competition, we're working in prices, we're working in, just name it, we're working in a very, very competitive environment, and you need to know how to bring your produce or to bring whatever you do into the market, get a good price, and be successful in what you do. So this is very important for me. We will think about this and we'll work through this in this 15 minutes. So some of the challenges that we have, if we think about farmers and agriculture, so it's not only that, you know, you should be a successful farmer, you need to know how to sow, how to crop, and how to seed the seeds. You need to know also, you know, how to get to the market, access to market. Many places the access, the transportation, whatever it is a big issue. You need to know how to upgrade in your value chain. You have a value chain, it's not enough that you sell the raw product. You have to have something that will upgrade it. The size of the farm is a limiting issue. Most of the farms are small sized. It's not like the US that you have those big, huge farmers. We're talking about small sized farms. Post-harvest, to keep your product fresh till it comes to the market. Irrigation, water, infrastructure, anything that Shikun Binuit as a great company does is very important for you. If it's at the national level and you benefit as a farmer, as a small householder, as a bigger one. And of course, knowledge and technology is of course a very, very big issue. All of those things are challenges. So how will we overcome those challenges, huh? That's a big question. Let's go to the next slide. So I call it the development challenge, all right? And now this is, I think every organization, every individual, or is the organization or the sum of the individuals? I would argue it's the sum of the individuals that make the organization, not the organization itself. So every organization, I myself, you have an ideology behind you. I see your people here, people that with a little more spirit than just normal business people, or just normal people that I meet. I see it, just look at the table, or the professor talking about, you have a little more than that. So I call it the development challenge. That is what I try to address. This is my ideology. How do we do development, guys? How would we move from one place, from all of those challenges, from the problems of agriculture, to something else and make Africa prosper? This, you could take it out of the 5 minutes of the end. No, really, come on. Just shoot 1 or 2 ideas. I'm here for you. Or you're here for me? Well, the same. Yeah, how do you do it? You did it. If you're here in Israel, that means you're successful in something. You're a little above the average. There's a meaning for you to come here. How do you do that? How do you move from one place to the other? Technology. Adaptation. Adaptation of technology? Yeah. Adapt new technologies. Nice. I heard here training. Training, adapt to new technologies. Education, I suppose. Yeah. You're talking about education. That was good. Financing. You need more money. If I give you $1 million, it means you'll move from one place to the other? Maybe, yeah. It will help. Okay. Maybe financing, not always. You know, they say that the people that win the lottery, you know, they did a statistic. They end up as they were before. So maybe not, you know, maybe financing, but I don't know, not necessarily. But okay, yeah, let's talk about what else. I love the Israeli guys. Set up a target and look how you get it. Definitely, that's what they teach us in military service, guys. You know, you're really focused. You know what you're doing here in Israel. Yes, I agree. Motivation, setting a target. That links into the answer I'll give. Yeah. Okay. How is time? 10 minutes. Wow, we have plenty. That's great. That's a delicious delight. Good. Okay, so I'll give the answers. But think about it, because really, I don't want to give like the answers. I think you need to think about the problem. You need to come with your own. You need to be slightly in agony before you could see the bliss of your. I mean, that's absurd, but that's how it is. Paradox. Let's go a little to the answers. Usually, the answers, like you said, are, you know, energy, okay, knowledge, education, power, freedom, livelihoods, governance, you know, anything that makes you those things, democracy, money, financing. Don't take photos of that, because this is what usually people say. Yeah, and if I would come with the usual answer, it wouldn't be very interesting, right? So I'll tell you the way we see development, the way when I come somewhere and I see the conditions, I see the situation, and I want to move it from one place to the other place. The way I like to do business, the way I bring my interventions into society. Yeah, you could click it. So I think that development is something that is not connected to money. It's a bit like, what's your name? I forgot. Ezra. Ezra is, in Hebrew, Ezra is somebody that helps other people. So he's definitely he's a good guy, I'm sure about that. So yeah, prophet too, true. So it's a bit like Ezra says, you need to have like this thing of getting together around that issue, getting together, getting organized as a state, like Israel, as a group of people, as a household, okay? Getting together, getting organized, working on that issue, setting your goals, becoming more sophisticated. You're become more sophisticated. That's technology, whatever it is. That's education, and going up in scale. So whenever I come anywhere and I want to see that they do something positive to the community, I run it through this. This is my guidelines. This is when I wake up in the morning, when I go to sleep, I check if this happens. Okay, so let's talk about what I do and how what we're talking about up to now works with my activities. I'm a small company. I'm not even a promille, I suppose, of Shidkun Binui, but our heart is in the right place, and we see good positive impacts of what we do. We work mostly in poultry and in dairy. I believe that to see change in Africa, we need to have those smallholder farms changing the way that they do poultry. Usually it has a low threshold, it's quite cheap to start, and you get quick returns on that. And the funny thing is that most of the people have some hens in the backyard. It's easy to start with that. I live in Rehovot, that's a city near Tel Aviv. I have 12 chickens in my backyard. And now they just hatched a few more. So what we do is, you could go to the next slide, is we like to see local farmers we come with solutions for local farmers. We come with usually hatcheries, and because poultry, when you have the hens just running in your backyard, so they can lay the eggs, you can collect the eggs, you never go beyond this subsistence level. And to move from this subsistence level, you need to start, I'll call it industrializing a little bit of what you do. You need to get get organized around this issue. And for me, the issue is when you have eggs and you start hatching them, regardless to the mother hen sitting on the eggs, so you start growing your population of the hens, of the chickens, and then you can start interacting in the market. That means bringing the chicklets, selling them, or growing a larger amount of hens. And then we found that the best thing would be to, you could click to the next one, or just showing some photos. Well, this is the limit of just sitting on the eggs and hatching a few. The best thing is to have a hatchery. And we did this a bit research and development. We came with this hatchery. I think the ideal size is 56 eggs. The cost of something like that is extremely low. You could bring it to smallholder farms, connect it to a solar outlet. I know it's quite common. I think it's very important. And then you could hatch the eggs and sell them back into the market. Sell them back into the market. I find that for smallholder farms a very important starting point and something very important. Of course, we do big projects also, but I like to talk about the smallholders and how we change their life. Okay, we could go to the next one. This is some photos how it works. It's interesting because they have to move, you have to have the right humidity, you have to have the right amount of heat, low consumption of electricity. Okay, let's go on. So, of course, looking at the eggs. The first thing is poultry farms. We could go to next. The second thing we like to talk, hatching after 21 days, we like to talk about is dairy. Dairy is a big issue. We can go to the next one. Dairy is a big issue. The second area of intervention is dairy. Dairy is a big issue in not every African country. In Kenya, it's a big issue. We have Kenyans consumes 3 times more milk than, I'm not talking about South Africa, yeah, but any other African countries rather than South Africa, and consume a lot of milk, and it's a big market. We do work in Kenya with dairy farms. We're working with universities to build for them some agribusiness. The agribusiness includes dairy farming, poultry farming. Time, right? If you're standing here, that means. So the idea is to move from just doing your own, let's say, product into something more industrialized. I said that 80% in Kenya, 80% of the milk is done by smallholder farms. So once more, smallholder is an extremely big portion of agriculture production in the country of 20 million, and it's the conditions they do it is very, you milk the cow, it stands in the sun, those containers of milk, very poor conditions, very poor quality. So we offer 2 things. One is a milk processing, small, relatively chilled milk processing. We want to see how you move from milk to process the milk or having milk products. And the other thing is to give you the facilities of milking and cooling on a mobile setting. Because if you're a smallholder farm, you have 5, 3, 4 cows, you will not do a milking parlor. You'll need to have it come to you. So it means, you have a joke in Hebrew, instead of Moses going to the mountain, instead of Muhammad going to the mountain comes to Muhammad. So we're bringing the milking and the cooling to the smallholders rather than the smallholders building it in their setting. So we came with this development of a truck that can move around and milk and cool, we call it the MS, Mobile Milking Station. Well, it got stuck. Never mind. Next slide. Yeah, doesn't move. And of course, the pasteurization, where we like to do this. It's not UHT, where you need a lot of energy to do long life milk. It's something in the middle. It has extended shelf life. It could be good for a shorter amount of time, but it doesn't consume as much energy and sophistication as the UHT milk. So that's like a nice solution for the context of developing countries where you don't have a cool chain of supply for the milk. Some photos. How could not end with some photos? This is me, part of the delegation of Bibi in about a year ago. If you find me in the background, you'll get a free dinner. Just joking. Next. When Kenyatta was here in Israel, I didn't have the beard then. Yeah. Okay. Next one. This is when I visited Liberia. They have there a lot of poultry, lots of smallholders, a lot of work to be done there. I know everybody was smiling when I was talking about poultry, but there are countries that really need as much as you can help them. Next, also in Liberia, working in Kenya, working on a dairy farm with one of the universities in Kenya in the Nakuru area. Next one, yeah, this is together with my team over there. Yes, so you can go next. I like to see, how it's amazing how a country of 20 million with 80% done by smallholders, how they do it. You have milk hawkers and motorcycles and trucks. They bring it from all over, and somehow it works. It doesn't work well. There's lots of improvement. Okay, next. This is just the photos, guys. Still time. Okay, meeting former President Moi. Okay, just some MOUs we did. Yeah, and my family. That's the most important.
Hello, everybody. Shalom, everybody. Well, first of all, I grew up in Africa. Yeah, my parents worked in Ethiopia in the 60s. Yes, I'm that old. And I grew up in Addis Ababa from 67 to 71. So I'm like connected, and I have roots in the continent. So next slide. Next slide, please. So Blossom is we're about 10 years old. We started an Israeli technological startup in 2007. We are self-funded. That means we don't have any VCs or banks invested in us. We're profitable since quite a few years, and we have operation in Israel, in Brazil, and now we're looking to establish in Asia and in Africa. The other direction. So until he will get arranged with the presentation, we deal, our platform, we're a technological platform that we deal with several areas of expertise. The first area would be can you go one more? The first area, one more as well. The first area we're going to be the healthcare. We found out in the past 10 years that we are working in the global market that the healthcare are not efficient in general, and are not efficient by the computerization of the healthcare centers. Many of the employee, and especially of the caregiving employee, that means the doctors, the nurses, the specialists, a lot of their administrative work is done by hand, by forums, by have to walk from place to place. So we, together with a few Israeli hospitals, had modified our platform that will be able to help healthcare centers to be more efficient. Instead of doing actions by hand, or have to go and have to give a form, everything is done on the job, by the computer, by the mobile phone. So it will be very, very easy, and will save a lot of time, and will enable to treat more people if it's a government or church managed hospital, or to get more revenue if it's a private hospital. And this is really, really, really makes an impact on those health centers. I wouldn't go through the features, just features. I'll tell you the concept, and if you have any questions feature-wise, I'll go later. Large-scale education. This is actually something that we have also highly expertise. We have a huge customer base in Brazil, which is a very wide country, and we manage a complete, a huge education administration in Brazil, which we cover actually all area of the education, from the teaching to the learning to the administration to the teacher training, management of the class, reports on how does the students perform and how does the teacher perform, virtual schools. We also created infrastructure for virtual school that can give to the students or pupil synchronic and asynchronous lessons. And this we have a huge experience in Brazil. So this is actually from our perspective. If we have a need in another country, it's almost like plug and play from our side of the business, because we have a very, very high expertise. And I know that computerization of the education is also a target in Africa. eGov digital transformation. Well, I'm traveling a lot. I've been in Asia a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to Mexico on Friday. Everybody wants to have the government and the municipality eGov. That means electronic. Everybody done electronic. But when I speak to these people and I go to the offices and to the municipality, I found out that they work by hand. They have spreadsheets, they have forms that they fill in, they have pen and paper, maybe they have small application here, small applications there. So we in Blossom, we take all the needs and all the computerizations they need inbound. First, work inbound electronically, and then take it to your citizens, to your customers, to the citizens of your country, of your municipalities. So we cover a lot of aspects of the inbound organization, what we call it digital transformation. That means take the user from pen and paper and spreadsheets to computers. Enterprise, I don't know how much you're into enterprise, but I'll give just, we also, whatever we do for the government, for the medical centers, for the education, varies for the enterprise. One more. Another area when we see a problem is all the government, if it's like the Red Cross, if it's like the police, if it's like the fire brigade, we see a huge need for them, especially in places that are remotely, a huge need to train them and to keep them qualified. So we actually made our platform to accommodate, to help the HLS and the first responders in this kind of areas. They will be current all the time, and the chiefs will know exactly the level of their personnel. Go more. Reporting and business intelligence, of course, all the platform, all the solutions that I give you, that I told you in the past 10 minutes or less, we have complete reporting and business intelligence solution within the platform, so all the data are going to be up to date. So this is a very important, actually very important slide. When we started to operate it in Brazil, they told us, listen, we had a very wide countries, we have bandwidth problem, we can have the people come to a certain locations and be trained there and to be studied over there, but we have a bandwidth problem and we have network problem. So, but we want to have reports in the center location, and we want to have the unified content, the unified training all over. So we developed a special solution when it started in Brazil, but now gain interest in other places of the world. So we can have local installations in the remote places that only synchronize when they have enough bandwidth. So that means that the user can, if it's a student or if it's a government employee, they can do whatever they need based on a LAN in the same building or the same campus, based on a LAN on a wire or Wi-Fi, and be connected to the center only when there is a bandwidth and a network connectivity. This is, I know that you will appreciate it, because I know that Africa is very widespread, very remotely, and in some places you have this kind of problems. So this is also a very, very unique point of us. So you can go, I think I'd cover most of the, you can go to the last slide. The last slide, one more. Okay, so I think I covered most of what we are doing in our field of expertise. So first of all, I want to thank you for being here, for coming to Israel, for supporting Israel. And if you have any questions, now will be the time.
Hi, I just want to know, you talk about the full impact platform for change management. Can you give us any examples of like projects that you've done, whether in government or in education, and what the results were, monetary or in terms of just the statistics of how your product has been able to transform?
Cool. So we are involved in Brazil in two huge education projects that's coming from two different aspects. One is a vocational training project, and the other is continuous education for students that drop out in school after 2, 3, 4, 5 grades and want to continue their education. The main problem was for the solutions to not be successful from the beginning, because they demanded 100% presence in class. So when they started to enter our platform they changed and they said you have to do 80% in the 80% in the computer and only 20% in the class. So first of all, much more students came into the courses, and then the dropout was reduced, because getting to the classes cost money to the people and took them a lot of time that it used to work. Here, most of the learning is done on the spare time. So it's actually raised not only the grades, but the people that finish the programs dramatically.
In your evaluation tools, like you mentioned, one of them was the teacher-student performance analysis. Do you develop the data analytics tools yourselves? Or?
Okay, so we developed the evaluation tool. Yeah. You have to put in your your methodology, and we have the way to analyze it.
Yeah.
Okay, we have the reports and the way to analyze it, but it's according to your methodology.
Us. Oh, so you just generate the reports and so forth, so somebody else has to develop the actual analytical tool?
It's not quite. We have analytical inside the platform, but it's usually what we find out that the person in charge have their own questions that they want to ask and they want to analyze. So we give you the possibility how to analyze these questions from different angles, but you have to put the questions by yourselves.
Thank you. I think part of follow-up or just strengthening the inputs is interpreting your transformation in relation to cybersecurity.
We have cybersecurity agencies using our platform to spread the word and to train the people. Okay, if, for example, in Vietnam, we have the whole government cybersecurity force, which a lot of people, I think 50,000 people, they use our platform to distribute within the government the whole knowledge and the training about cybersecurity. We ourselves, we do penetration tests every few months. Actually, yesterday or today, we're just starting the periodical one.
How does your business model work? Do you approach companies, governments, or how does it work for you to get the business?
Usually we work with the local partners that bring us to the potential customers, or we speak with the government or with the stakeholders within the country, and they usually connect us with the partners within their countries. For example, I had a meeting with Myanmar Minister of Education about a year ago, after the Israeli government arranged the meeting, and not he himself, but his managers recommended on a few local companies that we are able to cooperate with them, and they can create the content and can deploy our platform. All right, thank you very much. Oh, just one more question.
This is the last question now. The time is so.
Yes. The follow-up on the last question. Is it business to business, for example, in the area of education, because I'm really interested in your solution in the area of education. So, is it business to business? When you have a local person that's identified the area where you can come in, deploy your, is that what you are trying to say?
We also can do a G2G project. We can also know how to, there is a way how to do it in a G2G. We also operate in a certain areas in a G2G project. We know how to do it. There is certain very strict rules that the Israeli government wants to be followed, and once it's followed, it can be declared as a G2G business. Thank you very much. I'm here for the break. I think we have now a break. I have brochures or whatever you need. Just come to me.
All right, thank you very much. Hand of applause. Shalom, thank you for the opportunity. Joseph, we all know who Joseph is from the Tanakh, right? Joseph, who provided for his people during the time of good and saved up during the time of good to be able to provide in the time of famine. The Joseph Project is an organization of local Israeli believers that was birthed by the Messianic Jewish Alliance of America about almost 20 years ago. And back in the beginning, people said, well, why would Israel allow Messianic believers do something like this, bring in humanitarian aid to help Israel? And it didn't look like it was going to go, but God began to open the doors, and now we've become the largest importer of humanitarian aid here. And we are receiving containers of aid from nations, from Christians in the nations, and it's really an opportunity to touch one of the deepest needs in Israel. Israel is an amazing miracle. But at the same time, over 20% of the population lives under the poverty line, almost a third of the children. Anybody in local government knows it's a problem. There's not the resources to deal with a lot of the fundamental problems. And so that's where God has opened a door for us to enter in. I'm just going to show you a 2-minute video.
The Joseph Project is an oasis in the desert that serves the modern state of Israel by meeting the fundamental humanitarian needs of those suffering the grinding hardships of poverty within the Israeli population. Our incredible facility, not far from the holy city of Jerusalem, is one of the largest humanitarian aid centers in the country, boasting over 22,000 square feet containing high-quality humanitarian aid goods. Acquiring these goods from loving Christians around the globe, the Joseph Project is hard at work distributing humanitarian aid to those in need. We know that Israel is a modern, technologically advanced nation, but did you know that almost 25% of all Israelis, over 1.7 million people, including over 900,000 children, live below the poverty line? This is one of the highest rates among developed nations. Much of this poverty can be attributed to Israel's high cost of living and low wages, the 24/7 need for border and internal security, the tens of thousands of new immigrants coming to Israel every year who don't speak the language, and diverse ethnic communities, each facing unique challenges to adapt. We reach out to these needy Israelis, helping new immigrants, Holocaust survivors, senior citizens, handicapped patients, single-parent families, victims of terror, orphans, and the poor, both Jewish and Arab. Since the dawn of the 21st century, the Joseph Project has distributed over $100 million in humanitarian aid, providing basic life necessities such as clothing, furniture, medical equipment, blankets, toys, diapers, school supplies, and food. It is so gratifying to hear testimonies from recipients praising how the strategic aid has supported and comforted them on a basic need level. Even more importantly, just knowing that people care, they feel encouraged to keep going by enjoying a little bit higher quality of life. Won't you consider joining us by helping the Joseph Project bring aid and comfort to the widows and orphans, the sick, the lame, and those suffering from poverty in the land of Israel? Don't wait, because the most exciting and prophetic times are soon to come.
I'm going to stop because I only have 5 minutes and I think we're already there. But if anybody would like to talk about it later, I'm here. And it's really, I'll just say it's an exciting opportunity because that God has given us to raise a testimony in Israel of love coming from the nations through a messianic channel, which is raising the testimony of the Lord here and giving us breakthroughs. We become attractive to municipalities around the country now are wanting to work with us, big Israeli organizations, the largest food bank, Amidar, the Public Housing Corporation, and there's a lot to share. Thank you.